Okay, we're getting ready to do a leak repair in one of these units. First thing you do whenever you have to work on anything that's positively charged with water is you have to find an isolation valve. In buildings like this, it's controlled by one valve, the whole building. So in that instance, you would have to get authorization from the property management to make sure that they give sufficient notice to all the tenants that their water will be going off. Each unit's been rerouted in the past, and when they rerouted it, they did them all individually, and somebody took the time to put a few labels on here, which helped me with the process of elimination. I had a 50-50 chance. I discovered that this is the valve that controls the unit we'll be doing the work on. So what we do is we just turn the ball valve 90 degrees to the supply pipe, and that lets you know it's off. Once again, parallel, valve on. 90 degrees, perpendicular, valve off. Okay, once we located and isolated the water supply system to the unit, the next step is to come into the unit, and we want to open up faucets. This happens to be a two-story unit. It's really critical when you're working on a two-story unit to evacuate the water from the top floor so that you can service those pipes without having residual water run down the inside of the wall. You open up all the faucets on the bottom floor, and this allows a vacuum. And I don't know if you can hear it, but you can hear a gurgling. That lets you know the water from the top floor is draining down and exiting in the bottom floor so that we can work on these pipes with the minimal residual water. Okay, we're here to address this leaky tub spout. You can see it down here, it's dripping. The reason it's dripping is there's a cartridge in here that goes into a valve that has seals on it. And those seals, over time, our water is so hard that minerals get accumulated in the valve body, and as you turn the valve on and off, eats up and corrodes all those rubber seals to the point to where they start leaking. The remedy is take and replace the new cartridge, but since we have a bunch of issues with caulking being pulled away, we're going to replace the whole trim kit on this today and reseal everything, because these are big time causes of leaks downstairs. Water seeping by where the silicone is not holding there, as well as on this here, this is loose. Water can get past that and drain down below. So we're going to replace the cartridge, fix the leak, and then we're going to do the whole trim kit and reseal everything so that we can make sure we have 100% seal with no water. Okay, so the tools you're going to need for this job are pretty simple. You need a screwdriver, a putty knife, cartridge puller, some Teflon tape. This is called Key-Tite. It's a potable water lubricant for whenever you're sealing anything to keep things friction from building up, and it's also an extra water leaking inhibitor. You'll also need a little bit of plumber's grease, and I'll show you what to do with that when we get to that point. And of course, the replacement cartridge. So you can see it's a Moen 1225B. Okay, so what we do first is we take this cover off of the handle. Just like that. And then we remove the handle. Like that. Pull out the trim. You got two screws here that hold the outer trim plate to the inner trim plate. Once again, putty knife, break the seal on the silicone, just like that. Now we're going to open this valve so we can allow the water that's trapped in these supply pipes downward out, so that we'll minimize the residual water that's going to spill out of this valve and possibly go down and into the wall. So we'll open it, and as you can hear, it's allowing the water to siphon out of the system down to the first floor. Okay, sounds like we're pretty much evacuated. So the next step is vapor lock. Okay, so the next step is there's a little retainer clip right here that needs to be removed. Now the new cartridges don't come with replacement retainer clips. So you have to be very careful not to drop it there or down the drain. Okay, I always put something down the drain whenever I'm working on something like this, just to keep it from falling down and not being able to be recovered and possibly causing a clogged drain down the future. So that being said, that's all we can do. Now we pull the pin, and like I said before, they don't come with replacement pins, so you need to be very, very careful. Make sure you don't drop it down into the wall where you can't retrieve it. Okay, once we have the retaining clip out, now we can pull the cartridge. Just grab it here, give it a little tug, comes out. Okay, now what I was explaining before is there's seals all the way around here, here, and here. There's also internal seals, and usually it's the internal seals that go bad in these, that allow them to keep dripping, because that's where the water with the calcium mineral deposits flows through. And every time you activate this by pushing it in, pulling it out, it's like sandpaper on those seals, and it just slowly erodes them over time, and it causes a leak. And then if you'll look closely at the valve body, it's been leaking for a while. There's evidence, mineral deposits, lime and calcium. So I'll take a piece of emery cloth. Sometimes you can find something that, just get creative. Wrap this around the end. And all you want to do is just get all the hard mineral chunks that come up without removing too much or scratching or scoring the body of the valve. So, okay. Next step is replacement cartridge. Same procedure. They make a tool. What? They make a tool to remove these and put them in that you can use if they're really corroded in there. Otherwise, I just use my channel locks. But they do make a tool that this screws onto, and that actually you can use to pull these out if they get sticky. But it wasn't necessary in this instance. So now, I told you earlier that we needed some plumber's lube, and then I'd show you what it was for. We want to wipe a little bit on the inside of the valve body, as far as you can get your finger in there. And then a little bit on all the rubber seals, just to keep them from getting caught up and moved out of position when you put the new cartridge in. So then if you look at the cartridge, I don't know if you can see it, you have two tabs, and then you have two open slots. The way this goes in is with the two tabs up and down, and there's a groove in the valve body that allows you to push those tabs in. Once you have the new cartridge in, very carefully put the keeper pin back in without dropping it down in between the wall. Sometimes a little bit of a side-to-side adjustment's necessary on your alignment to get it to go in. That's typical. And there we go, pins back in. And that's how you replace a 1225 Moen cartridge.